Vicky, we live in this hookup culture where much of our society, they think that they can just go on one night stands and just have consequence-free relationships, sexual relationships.
Well, it's interesting because that's a lie that abounds, that we've come through the media and other things to believe there's no consequence to sex. And as long as you're contracepting or whatever, it's all fine, but we don't really understand how it is our bodies work. We need to recognize, for instance, that we as women undergo profound changes when we have sex with a male, that there are many things that change. It takes our body 6 months to make the adaptation to the sperm of our male partner, because before that we are in an autoimmune reaction. Our immune cells are testing. What is this? Is this an infection? What is it? Our body comes to conclude that this is our sexual partner and now has made an adaptation. The reality is that this allows us women to be without consequence in terms of when we conceive children with this male, our body recognizes that this is with our partner. We carry cells from every child we ever conceive, so we carry the DNA of our partners the rest of our lives. It's an interesting question. If I've had multiple partners and perhaps conceptions with multiple partners, that what might that mean to my body in terms of the immune system? Because I will now literally be carrying the genetic material of my partners contained in my children. We don't know what the long-term consequences of that are. The sperm has many antigens on it, and again, we think this is kind of neutral. We women have bodies that are acidic in chemistry, and males are alkaline. But what's interesting is that the last thing that happens with sperm production is there's a coating of vitamin C that's put on the sperm that allows it to survive. The reality is that seminal fluid, which we think of as kind of a carrier, it just kind of gets the sperm where it needs to go, is in fact biochemically very active. Of course, all these different kinds of substances. There are also many, many hormones that are there. Luteinizing hormone, we think that's a woman hormone. Follicle stimulating hormone, that's a woman hormone. 13 kinds of prostaglandins. Some other things like dopamine are there. Why? Because we women absorb that material and we're changed forever. Every time we have intercourse with someone, if we absorb any of that seminal fluid, it's in our system for at least 15 hours. We're changed in a very real and concrete way by this sexual intimacy that's there. Furthermore, the brain chemistry in both men and women is triggered with sexual intimacy. And we believe that because I say this is just a sexual encounter for pleasure, I'm not going to be changed, that it works. Our brain never gets the message that this has no consequence. The assumption on the part of our body is that sexual intimacy always has consequences, always has meaning. And as soon as we have this intimacy with this person, we trigger brain chemistry. We trigger, for instance, oxytocin, which is a bonding hormone both in men and women. And when we have sexual intimacy with someone, what happens to the male is this hormone now makes him have a preference for this female that he just had sex with. Hooking up, this sense that it doesn't matter, is physiologically an impossibility. The anthropologists talk about the fact that this is perhaps why, if we have sex with Mr. Wrong when we're ovulating, we now are hooked to Mr. Wrong. We all know that Mr. Wrong leads to Mr. Wrong number 2. So this awareness of how this give and take, this dance, if you will, between men and women is so important, and it's so critical that we as women and men understand there's a lot more going on in our bodies than we've ever been told, so that we can, A, make really good choices about this. Do I want my body to be changed by this male? If I'm going to have sex with him, I am going to be changed by him. And we don't even know what some of the long-term consequences of this are, but we know that she's absorbing the material. And, how do I want to live my life? How do I want to be changed by my partner? What consequences might there be if I make these choices where I have, repetitive sexual partners? We don't know what some of these long-term consequences are. Again, what we think is simple, what we think is without consequence, in fact, has serious long-term consequences. And, the more I learn about this, the more I'm in awe that nature, God, has built us in this way to be complementary to each other, that we truly are changed by our partner and really become one.